We'll start with Miss McKay, who will be commenting on item number 1. Do we want to take a mic back there for Miss McKay? Do we have a mic for Miss McKay?
You were 3 times the size, I wouldn't have done this.
Yes. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Nellie McKay, and I'm from Patterson Houses in the Bronx. And I know a lot of y'all know my face. And I tell you, I'm used to be happy, but I'm mad. My great-grandson is 8. He was in a concert Friday night. And I went to Elizabeth Street to hear them sing. The car picked me up at 10 and I was home at 10:20. When I got up the stairs, it was 2:10 in the morning, a.m. in the morning. I don't know what's happening to these elevator people that fix the elevator. I think y'all need to try to get another contractor, demand that they do the elevator. Those elevators are very old. I've been talking about those elevators since 1965, when housing got 3 grants for $68 million, and we never got those new elevators. And now it's 2018, we still don't have the new elevators. Now, I'm not paying rent to sit in the hallway. And I couldn't walk upstairs because, I could come down. Police brought me, the fire department brought me down because the car was waiting for me. But when I got back home, I'm sure the elevator's working. I called emergency 3 times. Twice, I asked the young people what was their name. They hung up. The 3rd time, I got a nice lady, Miss Smith. She put in a ticket. And then I had to wait. They had to send and get a wheelchair, and they brought another device. I don't know what it was, but they put the wheelchair on and locked me on it, and he took me up the stairs. And then another young man came. I was so angry, I don't even remember all of them name. He says, I came to see, I'm one of the administrators from the emergency to see how you're doing and see you get in your apartment. This doesn't make sense. All of this money that housing had back in the days, what happened to the new elevators? Now we're just getting the ramps. Thank God the ramps look good, and they open up the ramps temporarily. They're going to close them and finish. But what is going on? And another thing, I came down here and y'all will see my face every month until some letters go out to the tenants. You have to hit people in their pockets. Fine them $100 when you catch them throwing garbage out the window, putting garbage. I paid $35 to have the sign made. Those people don't even read the sign. They've been up there 2 years. Then I went and had another one made $35. Put it on the tree. The guy put it on the tree for me. I don't know, the children took it down or whatever. They didn't want to read it or what. But you all have to do something. See, we have to work together. Tenants have to work with NYCHA, and NYCHA have to work with tenants. But when I moved in, you had to have a husband. You couldn't get in housing authority unless you had the husband. I had to go back 99-degree weather, get my marriage license, get my birth certificate, and my baby's birth certificate before I got that apartment I'm in right now. And my baby's 52 years old, and I've been there. I was the first one started a garden in 2645 3rd Avenue. See, I'm here to help. I'm not here to destroy housing authority. And you all have to do something. Send letters. You don't have to write a letter do 1 letter Xerox. Don't put it in the hallway because the people are not going to read it. Put it under the door. See, I don't mind traveling, but a lot of people don't want to travel. Maybe y'all can see that you can get Lincoln Hospital. They have a big conference room there where a lot of people have conference, and maybe send letters to the tenants that says mandated for you to come to this meeting. Why spend all of this money on these ramps and on these buildings and the people destroying them? You know why? Because no one is said you have to do this, or that. Either you take care of it or you move out. You can even send me a letter. I know I'm not paying $100, but you can send me a letter. Send everybody a letter. And I asked the manager to send letters. Why? Is everybody afraid to write a letter? I mean, the administrator have to do something. And I hope the new one, see, when they finish 2645, I plan to have a little party out there, because we've been waiting for this since 1965. And I want to invite all of my colleagues, the mayor and the Congress. I started Congress Serrano out in 2645 3rd Avenue. And I hope some of y'all can come, and we're having a meeting on the 1st. And they would let us know when 2645 we finally, all the ramps will be finished. Be finished there. But I'm asking, please send letters to the tenants and ask them to help keep where you live clean. And you don't have to have a doctor's degree to do that. I raised my children there. They didn't throw garbage out, because if they're dead, they got a whipping. You know, who's raising them? The children raising the parents? Some of them, because it sure don't seem like the parents are raising children today. See, I'm from the old school, and you all have to do something. Thank you very much. And you'll see me every month and tell those letters. I don't know about the other project. If they don't want to fight, but for Patterson, yes, send them out. And let me say something. Those guys clean. The man in my building, he cleans from top to bottom. Those guys work hard. And I had a luncheon for them. And I had a luncheon for them. And Senator, I knew him before he was born. I was in there with him when he's the senator now. I got certificates for all the guys. And the tenant supervisor said she didn't know anything about it, and they haven't got them yet, because I wanted to give to some of them and said, thank you for the work you're doing here. So I'm not a leader. I'm just a helper. But you can believe it. Somebody going to help me take care where I live and the senior citizen live. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. McKay.
Thank you.
Our second speaker is Jane Myers. He'll be commenting on items 1, 2, 3, and 4. Just like to remind all the speakers, they have 3 minutes.
Good morning. My name is James Myers. I'm from Patterson Project. I've got 4 topics to speak on. Number 1 was the boiler. Our boiler is 35 years old. Every year they have a thing. They say, well, we're going to put one in. Now, on your journal, all the projects that you're going to put in boiler, Patterson does not exist on this. And this is 35 years of same old boilers. Under your description, the boiler supposed to be established 15 years, then they're automatically supposed to work on it or put in a new one. Patterson, every year you come around, you say, well, we're going to do one. We're going to give you a new boiler. For 15 years, 35 years, we haven't got a new boilers. We still got the donkey boilers out there. And I think it's time to put it in, a new boilers. At times we get cold water, sometimes we get hot water. The winter was very bad for us because we didn't have, certificate heat and hot water. But I would like to know, how could Morris houses getting a new boilers? They are newer than us. Patterson's one of the oldest projects. We haven't received anything. The only thing that we're getting now is we're getting the ramps and we're getting new doors. the new doors that they put in, the contract put in, the glass is broken in the door. They put it up. We told them about it. Oh, no, we're going to do it. The glass is cracked. The contractor put it up there. They haven't done anything about it yet. Okay, that was now the parking. You have a parking permit for parking. Non-resident was $150 to park in the parking permit. This year they went from $150. They went 1,000% up. They went to 100. They went to 1,200 or 1,400 to park in there. I think that's ridiculous. You went from 150 to 100 and from 150 to 1,200 and something. Okay, when you go to the project and ask for an application, this is what the application states, that non-resident is 150. But somewhere down the line, somewhere in housing and the administration in this building or wherever, they're saying that it's no longer 150, it's 1,000 some odd dollars. I don't think that's fair. If the individual live in Patterson or live in the project, but he choose to register his car maybe in Connecticut or maybe in Jersey. So you're telling that individual, being that his car is registered in Jersey, he's not a tenant. He is a tenant. It's just that the car is registered perhaps in another area because of the tax or whatever. I'm just using this as an example. So I think that you can't penalize or you can't go up over 100% from 150 to 1,000. That's ridiculous. I've never seen anywhere in finance where that you get that kind of increase. I used to work with Paul Volcker, which was at the Federal Reserve, and they never increased in the economists that much. But somewhere down the line, we're doing it. Another thing, Patterson project haven't been pointed over 38 years or longer. All the new buildings that's in Patterson that's in the project have been pointed. The new one, they're doing great work on the new buildings. Patterson is one of the old buildings. They haven't done that. When it rains and the water hits the side of the building, it comes in. So, and I told the guy some time ago, maybe about 4 or 5 years ago, he came up to my apartment. He said, "Oh, yeah, we can do it." They told me to lean out the window and get some glue and spray it up there. I said, "You can't stop the water from coming in just by you leaning out the window and spraying." Well, he said, "Oh, all we wanted to do was pacify you." So why me? If that's the way housing is doing things, we're going down. We're not trying to improve that area. Okay, now.
Can you wrap up your comments, please?
Huh?
Can you wrap up your comments?
Definitely.
Thank you.
It's an honor just to come here and speak to you guys and to let you know what's going on in my community. So, but I hope that you'll do something about the parking and definitely my boilers for the next winter. Okay?
Thank you.
And thanks for
Thank you,
listening.
Mr.
Thank you, Mr. Myers. Our last speaker is NYCHA Torres from Smith Houses, commenting on item number 1.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I have this for every member.
So just leave it to NYCHA. Give your comments because we're on a schedule. Let's leave them here. I'll give them to you. Okay, great, thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I am here today because I am the Resident Association of Alfred E. Smith Houses, and I have gone beyond a serious concern to the point of actually, our attorneys are here today because I have asked for NYCHA to hire an arborist so that we can get a third opinion, because we hired one, the contractors hired one, and they're of different opinions. At the end of the day, the responsibility for this board and for myself is the safety of our residents. And NYCHA's response, the staff, has been, we can't afford it. Can you afford if somebody gets killed because a tree drops on top of them? I mean, I don't get the math. I only paid, out of TPA funds, and no, we don't have those kind of TPA funds, and I was able to hire one. So why can't NYCHA hire a third one? Or, as you will see in the booklet, our Congresswoman, Nidia Velazquez, has asked the forestry to step in, and NYCHA has yet to say, come in. So we're talking about resiliency. Part of resiliency is not just having dirt, it's having trees, grass. My residents deserve to have trees that shade them, that take care of them. We're the only development in public housing that sits on ground zero. And the repercussions have been people getting asthma, lung cancer. Some people have already died because we were told it was safe. No, it wasn't. And we're now paying. Those trees are a health issue for us. They give us clean oxygen, give us clean air. And so I need someone to respond to my residents about what we're asking. I don't think we're asking for the moon. I don't think we're asking for like $5 million. I mean, we need, pipes and things like that. But the lives of it's gotten to the point where I feel the lives of my residents are in danger, and that no one is listening to us or paying attention about this. And this has been going, as you will see in the documentation that I'm submitting to everyone, this has been going on for over a year. And that's why we have a task force with the elected officials sitting on it. And it's just been like 1 month after the other. And I just cannot understand why this can't happen. It's not going to cost that much to get somebody to come in, read the reports, ours and the contractors, and say, this is right, this is wrong, and let's sit at the table and negotiate. That hasn't happened. We've been, the procrastination on let's do this walkthrough is beyond, it's beyond me. And so now I'm coming before you. I'm coming to the top. I've not gone to the press. I have not gone to court yet, but I am almost there if something is not done, and real dialogue, and people really listen to our concerns, because we're just not being difficult. We're talking about the lives and safety of, if you saw over the weekend, 2 people got killed in a van because a tree fell on them. I mean, I don't get it, that people don't understand what our concerns are. Or is it that the lives of the residents of Alfred E. Smith mean nothing to anybody? Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Torres. Vice Chair, that concludes our public comments portion of this calendar, and we may proceed now with the regular calendar. I'd like to start with a motion to adopt the minutes of our special meeting held on April 30th.
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. We may proceed now with the chair's report.
Morning. Today we will have the chair's report given by 2 program leads rather than the chair. The report will be given by Vlada Kenneth and by Tishelle George.
Good morning, board members, GM. Thanks for having me here this morning. My name is Vlada Knip. I am the Director of Sustainability Programs in the Capital Projects Division. I will tell you about 2 new programs we launched last month. Access Solar program was created to ensure that small businesses and nonprofit organizations in NYCHA communities can benefit from solar commitment of installing 25 megawatts of renewable energy capacity on its properties by 2025, the largest goal for a multifamily housing owner in the United States. The current list of sites available for Access Solar comprises 325 rooftops across 65 NYCHA developments. The list of sites is available on the New York City Open Data Portal. Applications are open and will be accepted through July 2nd, 2018. NYCHA will select up to 5 pilot teams in this first phase of the program to develop solar panel installations. These installations will be community solar gardens, also known as community shared solar, meaning that the electricity generated will belong to project subscribers. While the service will be available to anyone within the electrical service area, the community shared garden is installed. NYCHA is requiring that a portion of these subscribers be low-income New Yorkers, including NYCHA residents and NYCHA Section 8 voucher holders who pay their own electric bills. The subscribers receive a credit on the electric bill as if the solar panels were on their own roofs. Next program is called the Zero Waste Challenge. The Zero Waste Challenge was developed through a collaboration among New York City government agencies, specifically Mayor's Office of Chief Technology Officer and Department of Sanitation, several academic institutions, Brownsville community, to ensure that technology-enabled civic innovations are responsive to community needs. I'm proud to say we received 13 proposals from all over the world, and Brownsville-based community organizations participated in the selection process. We selected 2. EcoRich LLC is a composting equipment manufacturer from India, and Mothers on the Move is a community-based organization from the Bronx. They'll each receive $20,000 for their tech proposed solutions over the course of 6 months. The funding is coming from the Economic Development Corporation and Department of Sanitation. The Fund for Public Housing is a nonprofit organization founded to invest in the well-being of NYCHA residents and their communities. They will support the expansion of the winning proposals beyond the 6-month pilot with the Ideas Marketplace crowdfunding platform. I'm happy to take any questions.
Any questions?
Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Tishelle George, Senior Advisor in the Department of Community Engagement and Partnerships. I am presenting on behalf of our EVP, Sadia Sherman, who sends her regrets that she wasn't able to be with us today. I'll be presenting today on 2 programs within CEP that had recent achievements: the Family Reentry Program and our Virtual VITA Free Tax Program. An evaluation of the NYCHA Family Reentry Pilot Program was conducted by HUD's Office of Policy Development and Research, and it was recently released on the HUD website this month. NYCHA's Family Reentry Program has been recommended by the Vera Institute for Justice and HUD as a model for public housing authorities across the country. The final report discloses the results of the 2-year evaluation, which describes the pilot participants' characteristics, their needs, as well as assesses the pilot's design, implementation, and feasibility for scaling up and replicating it in other jurisdictions throughout the country. Since launching in 2013, the Family Reentry Program has reunited 126 formerly incarcerated men and women with their families in NYCHA developments. The program participants receive a host of social services through our community partners over 2 years, and then they have an opportunity to officially join the lease. There is a thorough screening process, which includes background checks, and participants apply through borough-based reentry program providers. NYCHA has made the program permanent, but it has not expanded participation. We are working with the city at this point to incorporate expansion into the city's overall reentry plans. And then for the tax program, so we closed out tax season in April, and we had partnered with the Food Bank for New York City, as well as the Fund for Public Housing and City Community Development to offer free tax preparation services to NYCHA residents, Section 8 residents, and low-income New Yorkers earning $54,000 a year or less to have their taxes filed at local Cornerstone community centers and our Jobs Plus sites. This year, the program expanded to over 27 locations throughout the city, and we were able to assist residents and low-income New Yorkers with obtaining $2.8 million in refunds. This is a almost 11% increase from the $2.5 million that was generated in 2017. We look to continue to expand this program with the support of City Community Development and the Fund for Public Housing and to expand its reach in future years. I'll be happy to take any questions.
Yeah, I have a question about the reentry program. So you said it's been made permanent, but is not being expanded. Can you elaborate on what that means? So is it only available at certain sites, or is it just capped at that 120 number? How does that? What does that?
So the original goal was 150 families or individuals to participate. It's a citywide program, so it's not specific to any target neighborhood. We're looking to work with the city to incorporate it into its overall reentry model. So working with NYCHA and other agencies to make it a more permanent part of the city.
So are we taking in? Are there new participants then? When you say it's permanent, so
that it's no longer, meaning that it's
too?
no longer a pilot program,
Right.
that it is a permanent way that we do business now.
Okay,
at
so
NYCHA.
it's continuing.
Yes.
With that 150.
Yes.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
And the report is available where?
The report is available on the HUD website. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
General Manager's report.
I'm going to say it a little bit. And I think most of you know by now that I like to surprise folks. So Kathy, would you step up to the podium so we can do this jointly? Right. This is an agency-wide collaborative effort, and Kathy and her team have really been working extremely hard on this initiative. I'm sorry, I don't have my glasses. Okay. So Kathy and I are here to talk about our work order backlog plan, or as we like to call it,
NYCHA Cares.
Thank you. So it is absolutely no surprise to anyone in this room that we've been really focused on our work orders, on the backlog, and more importantly about the system and the logic that's built into the database that we use to track our work orders. And there will be some changes, some comprehensive changes coming in the future. However, though, we do recognize the fact that right now we have, as you can see from the screenshot, about 154,000 open work orders, of which about 135,000 are in the skilled trades. Right? And when you break that down, there are about 10 skilled trades where the vast majority of the 135,000 open work orders are living. Right now, the 154,000 is a number that we're not happy with, right? And we need to improve on that. But as you can see from the historical data, right, at one point in time in 2010, there were close to 600,000 open work orders. Right? But still, where we are today at the 154,000 mark is not acceptable. Right? So with that, the mayor, I believe it was 2 weeks ago, gave us a commitment of $20 million, $10 million next fiscal year, and $10 million the following fiscal year to address this backlog. Thank you. Yeah, so the SLAs. Kathy, do you want to talk about the SLAs?
Well, just on service levels, we actually do quite well with routine maintenance. We're able to attend to routine maintenance service requests really within an average of 4 days, which is below the standard. But where our real challenge is in our skilled trades. So the skilled trades is where we have the backlogs that exceed the desirable service levels.
So what we did was we ran a number of reports identifying the developments with the highest number of open skilled trade work orders. And what we did then, we paired that with a similar report that aged those work orders. And then we overlaid that with where we have invested capital dollars in roof replacements and pointing. Because obviously what we don't want for this initiative is to invest in doing the repairs if the roof is still leaking, if the roof is scheduled for replacement over the next 2 years. So what we did was we pared it down to approximately 35 developments with the highest number of open work orders. Again, when we look at the aging of the work orders, and where we looked at where we have invested capital dollars to protect the investment. Right? So there are 3 developments in particular that we're focusing on as part of the first wave. Right? Those are Queensbridge South, Kingsborough, and Manhattanville. And if you just take those 3 developments, right? I have some statistics. Here we go. So the totals, which are not on the board. So the number of occupied units within these 3 developments is almost 4,000 units. It's 3,997. The number of distinct units where we have open work orders is approximately 56% of the total number of units. The number of skilled work order trades, if you total up those columns, it's 4,400 open skilled work orders. So this is a very aggressive and a very optimistic approach that we're taking here. But our goal, using the mayor's money, is to close approximately 50,000 work orders. It's a very ambitious goal. Right? But,
Over the 24-month plan.
The 2-year period.
Not tomorrow.
Not tomorrow.
Okay.
Right, but these are the 3 developments that we're going to kick off this initiative with. Right? If we can go to the next screen. So, Kathy, why don't you talk about how we're going to accomplish this?
So we're bringing together teams for the soft launch of the first 3 sites, and these teams will be centrally managed through our skilled trade central team under Charlie Pawson, and they will be a cross section of all the required trades. So if we need plasters, plumbers, painters, which are the areas where we have large back orders, these teams will all be assigned to work at a specific development. And as the numbers showed, let's say at Queensbridge, we're going to complete repairs on all those units with these special teams all at the same time. So when we walk in the door of the unit, we'll already know the conditions. We'll already know what are the materials we need, what is the work that we need to be done. The goal is that we will complete all outstanding work for all those units. And we're going to also use this, to measure the costs on supplies, the productivity, will the blended teams, assist us with getting more work done when we're able. One of our challenges with our skilled trades is that what we call the sequencing or the scheduling, and that's where we lose a lot of time on service delivery. So the idea is if you bring the entire team in, we get the plaster work done, right? And that may be a 2-day job, but that painter starts day 3. Where in today's world, the plaster job might get done. You might not see a painter for 60 days. So we're going to really try to coordinate, the services, do a lot of monitoring and measuring of how this model works.
So if there's one thing that I've learned from being in government for almost 4 decades is that there are no new ideas. Right? Everything that we are talking about has been tried before, but what we're doing, and Kathy and her team are doing a great job with this, is looking at what we've done in the past and seeing where it didn't work, right? We're seeing where the deficiencies were, and we're improving on that process. And we do hope that what we accomplish with this initiative, and certainly with the first 3 developments, is that we set a model for the future going forward. Right? So we're not dealing with a backlog of 150,000 work orders going forward. We're not dealing with the fact that 135,000 of those are skilled trades. So we really do hope that this will set the pattern going forward, and certainly it's going to give a boost in the arm, so we can accomplish that goal. So the resources that we're pulling away from regular work, they're limited, as Kathy mentioned. We're supplementing that with
some temps, temp hires. Yeah.
So obviously our intention is not to then hurt the rest of the developments where this initiative is not focused on. So still a vast majority of our skilled trade workers will still be available for responding to day-to-day complaints and conditions.
And so so we're starting with in-house staff and some temp trades, and then we will continue to grow that model, and this will provide us some time to scope out if we want to use contract services for some of this work. So that gives us an opportunity to get a better, scope on what's the work that's needed. So if we want to do some contract services, and the reason we want to consider those contract services is it helps maintain our staffing at our existing development. So we are pulling some people off their regular assignments to do this, and we know that, we have to do some resetting for the services that they normally would be providing at their developments. But we're going to blend it with both in-house and contract services.
And I like to think that this is a result of what I like to call my first 3 months as a listening and learning tour. So I've been out to a number of different developments. I've been with the mayor when we've done announcements about the new roof replacement initiative. And the one thing that I keep on hearing over and over again from our residents is, they are appreciative of new roofs. They're appreciative of repointing, of new boilers. Right? But we really need to do a better job of addressing the conditions in their homes. Right? And I think that this initiative is exactly what residents have been asking for. So we're optimistic, right? And we hope to kick this off shortly.
Yes.
Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you.
Any questions?
So when will the work
Kathy?
actually, when do we project the work will start?
About the second week of June. We're calling it soft launch because, we're organizing all of our teams, and then we'll scale it out. So we'll increase going out. So the soft launch is for these 3 properties, and that'll start the second week of June.
Right. But the mayor's money, right, is it's based on the city's fiscal year. So it won't really be available until July 1st. Okay. Right. But we're starting a few weeks earlier.
Right. Yeah.
Just to kind of
to get started. Yeah. A lot of logistics involved.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that the teams that you guys are spearheading are going to be taking your orders to do the work at these 3 developments to take care of it. Hence, cleaning up the planning units to then better serve the other developments, correct?
Well, it should like these 50,000 we targeted, that will be done by the special teams. It does lift that off the planning units who can try to attend to the other work that isn't. Yes,
Okay.
is the answer.
So that's okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make
Yeah.
sure, because if you include them, then it's just going to muddle up everything.
No,
If
right.
it's going-
Right.
Okay. Okay.
I have a question. There have been some concern about having enough staffing in some skilled trades. So are those concerns immediately taken care of by having the temp available?
Well, the temps are just going to supplement the work we need for these projects, but the temps aren't permanent. So, the issue of, staffing is always a challenge because, if we had our way, would we prefer to have more skilled trades? We would, but we have to fit ourselves into our budget. So the temps help supplement where we can't afford to do permanent hires for skilled trades or other positions for that fact.
And the temps come from where? Are there specific agencies, or what's the process?
They are hired through, I was looking for our someone from HR. They are hired through an agency that we use, I believe. I can find out for you.
I have a question. So based on this information, these 3 developments were identified based on the work orders that are currently in place.
On the volume of work orders, yes.
So I know, like, for example, the GM and other NYCHA staff have done walkthrough of several different developments. And do you feel that these numbers are accurate in the sense as far as, are these developments the ones in need of the most repairs and work? Or did you feel maybe while you were doing walkthroughs that there were other developments that probably would have benefited from this particular program?
Right. So that's a great question. So this is really based on our data. And not necessarily by from walkthroughs. This is just the beginning. Right? We hope to, again, as I mentioned earlier, we hope to touch on at least 30 to 35 developments with this initiative. And so these 3 of them are Again, based on the reports that we have, the developments that are in greatest need. That again does not suggest that there aren't developments where conditions might not necessarily be documented. Right? So it's, and again, it's part of the listening and learning tour. But this is the start of this initiative. It's a 2-year initiative. So and we hope that by sending, as Kathy mentioned, by sending staff out in advance to kind of scope the work, right, it's conceivable that we'll find that these developments aren't the right ones for us to identify at first. Perhaps the conditions have been corrected. Right? Our records don't necessarily reflect that. Right? So it's a learning process for us. Right? But we do hope that, and again, we hope that what we walk away from this initiative is a better understanding of how to sequence the work. And so we're not dealing with residents who are waiting for months at a time for the next work to be accomplished. And so we hope to walk away from this with some really good information about how we can improve on our process. Thank
I have
you.
a question. In regards to the employment for the temps, will some of them come from the Lease employment program?
I'll have to get back to you on that. If it's a skilled trade, not likely, but if it were a different job type, so if we're hiring plumbers and electricians, I don't believe those are coming out of the Reese training program. So it depends on which trade we're trying to hire for. But if there's an opportunity to do that, we certainly would.
May I proceed with the regular calendar, item number 1.
Hello, I'm Joyce Cinderbrand. I'm the Vice President for the Recovery and Resilience Department. That's part of the Capital Projects Division. And I'll be presenting the 3 capital projects items. Item number 1 is award for Hamel houses. This is restoration that's associated with the Sandy Recovery Program. And this is to ARC Electrical and Mechanical Contractors Corp. Their lowest bidder at $139.2 million. This is part of the Sandy Recovery Program work for every building, all 14 buildings at this development, including replacement of roofs, installation of the full power backup generators, flood protection elements, underground utility replacements, site lighting, lobby upgrades, restoring the community center, adding more closed circuit television and layered access upgrades. And it also includes a new boiler room that's going to house 4 new boilers for this development. The contractor has been doing work for NYCHA in the past. They've done two projects at a prime contractor, and their VNC is still pending. Their goal is 30 Section 3 hires, and this is going to be funded by FEMA, CDBG-DR, and insurance funds. The second item is an award for crawl space renovation at various developments to New York Environmental Systems, the low bidder at $12.5 million. This is part of the mayor's larger neighborhood rat reduction plan, and that includes other elements in addition to this. But this part's focused on 10 developments. There's 50 crawl spaces at these 10 developments in the Bronx and Manhattan, and this will include abatement work, reinstallation of existing piping, soil removal, and new concrete slabs at these buildings. NYES has performed 22 projects for NYCHA as a prime contractor and a sub, valued at over $7.5 million, and they are aiming for 6 Section 3 hires, and this is going to be city funded with work starting this summer. The last item is actually rejection of a sole bid. This is a requirement contract for replacement of interior compactors at various developments. NYCHA advertised this work, and while 10 firms viewed the contract, only one bid proposal was received, and it was much higher than the funds available for this initiative. So the sole bidder proposed a bid that was 46% higher than the cost estimate. This work is not going to be rebid. We're actually going to do this work with existing job order contracts that the board has already approved so that it can stay within budget.
Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Bob Morano, NYCHA's Chief Information Officer. This item is requesting to amend an agreement with Sylco Partnership doing business as Verizon Wireless. NYCHA uses Verizon Wireless as our service provider for cell phones, smartphones, and tablet connectivity. The original board item was a 5-year term commencing April 1st, 2015 through March 31st, 2020. As part of Next Gen NYCHA in 2016, we deployed 3,700 new smartphones to maintenance workers and skilled trade workers that allowed them access to Maximo, our asset management system. This revolutionized how we do work in the field. We went from an error-prone paper-based process to a real-time digital system. The deployment of the 3,700 new smartphones is requiring us to increase this agreement by $6,500,000. Therefore, we are requesting authorization to amend this agreement with Sylco Partnership. Yes.
Do you get a discount for the volume?
It's an OGS price, so it's a Office of General Services New York State discounted price already.
Are there tracking devices on, is there a tracking mechanism on these devices, for example, for NYCHA workers?
There is GPS capability on these phones.
Are they used?
It is not turned on yet. It's something we discussed, but we have not turned it on yet.
And are there any plans to expand further? Or is 3,700?
3,700 is a number that we feel covers all the skilled trade workers and the maintenance workers. So the only people who would be left are caretakers who really don't get individual tickets in Maximo. So it really didn't make sense to give them phones.
Okay, so this covers 100% of the workforce.
Yes.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Kelly McNeil, Acting General Counsel. I will be presenting item number 5. Authorization is requested to amend Board Resolution 13-2/13-3 and as subsequently amended, which authorized the award of 17 retainer agreements to 17 law firms to provide the authority with legal defense of all tort claims and resulting lawsuits for an initial 3-year term with 2 1-year renewal options to increase the not to exceed amount in order to fund outstanding invoices for services rendered during the second 1-year renewal option, which commenced on April 1st, 2017 and ended on March 31st, 2018. Are there any questions?
Yes, I had a couple. So the explanation seemed to be because there's been an increase in the number of court claims. Can you offer any narrative or explanation of what's going on, to what explains the increase?
There is no particular borough or cause. We from over time, sometimes there are modest increases and there, but to answer your question directly, there are no apparent trends or anything like that to report back.
And then my second and final question was just about the law firms. So looked like only one is an MWBE. And I was just wondering, is this an opportunity? I actually don't know a lot about the universe, but it would seem that there are other qualified firms out there. And is this increasing the contract as an opportunity to look at the landscape and see if there are other?
Not with this particular resolution, because this is funding previous retainers. Mm-hmm. But we, when RFPs go out, from time to time, we explore opportunities to widen the outreach that we do to attract, diverse firms. Yes.
Any additional questions?
Okay.
Thank you, Tim.
Good morning, Kathy Pennington, EVP for Operations. I'm here to present Board Resolution 6 and 7. Authorization is requested to ratify 2 indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity agreements for heating management, maintenance, and repair services with George S. Hall Incorporated and National Grid Energy Management, which commenced on May 1st, 2018, continuing through April 30th, 2028. These will continue for 10 years for the not to exceed amount solely funding through December 2020 of the initial 10-year term, with 2 one-year renewal options to be exercised at the authority's sole discretion. Under this agreement, GSH and National Grid will provide, as required by the authority, the management, supervision, labor, and tools that are necessary to efficiently deliver uninterrupted heat and hot water at safe, consistent temperatures. GSH will cover 24 developments in 5 designated clusters, and National Grid will cover 34 developments and 7 designated clusters pursuant to our task orders. GSH and National Grid will operate, maintain, and repair heating plant facilities, including but not limited to boilers, tank room equipment, domestic hot water heaters, condensate pumps, vacuum tanks, any meters, pumps, tanks, gas, and/or heating oil lines. It's a mouthful. So Resolution 6 is authorization to ratify this agreement with George S. Hall for $24,319,299 for heating and management service, maintenance, and repair services, commencing May 1st, 2018 through April 30th, 2028. Resolution 7 is to authorization is requested to ratify this agreement with National Grid and Energy Management, LLC, for heating management, maintenance, and repair services, which will commence May 1st, 2018 and continue through April 30th, 2028 for $22,140,326. Any questions?
I had 2 questions. So one is the term, the 10-year term, and you see service contracts often with a shorter period. And so I was wondering the thinking behind a 10-year term.
My understanding is that the vendors in conversations with us, it's a large investment for these contractors to come in to take over the plant room. So the request was for longer term contracts, and the longer term contracts are not usual that we do here at NYCHA, but we did get HUD approval for the longer term contracts here based on the type of work that we're doing.
Yeah, and then on the other side, there's that the estimate or the amount is significantly less, approximately half than the estimate.
Part of that was the way that the original cost estimates were for the entire portfolio, but then the contracts were split between these 2 vendors.
Oh, okay.
So that's part of the reason why it's showing the total
So the
cost
work
estimate.
scope isn't necessarily different. Or the scope of the contract is slightly different than what the estimate was for. Is that?
No, the scope, the estimates were based on all of the properties.
Yeah.
But when you see, so it took the total amount estimated, but then the contracts are between 2 vendors. So the estimate was based on all the plants. So we retain that same number.
I see. Got it.
I have. Will they actually oversee the data, the reporting when there are issues and then
they're required to use all of our data systems, so the reporting will still be managed through NYCHA. So any requests for service or any problems that we're having, of outages that are reported, it'll all be integrated within our systems. And they will also be using our current monitoring systems.
Okay. I know there were a lot of questions about the monitoring systems. Are there some upgrades or efforts to integrate the data better? I know there are different systems and are they kind of...
Well, we are actually working on, I would say, more automation of our data. So our current systems and our current IT infrastructure enables us to automate more of how we do the work in our heating plants and also to collect the information in a more integrated way. So we actually have been working on all of that since the heating season has ended. We have a work group working on all the data parts of it, and we will have some improvements in those areas, both from the very front end of when our contracts and that there will have a review.
Make sure I understand. So this work was done prior by another
Provided this in a use this in-house. This is the definition of contract serving management. These were plans. So they are misses to enable us to improve our staffing. One reason, there's many good reasons to proceed with the contract, but this will also allow us to improve our staffing ratios at the existing plants that we do manage.
Okay. I was trying to understand what the added value of this new contract.
Any other questions?
Good morning. My name is Ed McDonald. I'm Acting Director of Technical Services Department, and I'm here today seeking authorization to enter into an agreement with Linear Environmental Corp. For lead abatement services commencing on June 1st, 2018 and continue 31st, 2020. This contract is pursuant to the terms and conditions of the New York City Department of Housing Preservation Act. This agreement will provide for the removal and/or prevention of lead paint-based hazards in authority buildings citywide, and the Health Code of the City of New York, and directives for the corrections of lead issued by the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene, as well as the authority's lead abatement specifications. This work sections that we've been doing, we don't have this currently into staff and to finding independent paint inspections, and this contract will allow us to immediately address this work.
Is that why there were no bids?
Correct. It's a backdrop agreement against the current HPD contract.
Got it.
All the terms and conditions are the same as that contract.
Right. And is that also why a VNC is not required?
That is correct.
Right.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
I am Javier Moldova, the Acting Director of the Heating Management Services Department, and I will be presenting item number 9. Item number 9 is for the replacement of motorized steam control valves, control panels, and associated piping. I am seeking authorization to award a requirement contract between the authority and TR Pipe for this type of work. The motorized steam control valve supplies steam to the heat distribution system based on the outside temperatures. The scope of work includes, but is not limited to, labor, material, and required equipment to remove and install motorized steam control valves, the control panels, and associated piping. All equipment installed under this contract shall carry a 3-year labor material guarantee starting from the date of installation and satisfactory testing of the new equipment as confirmed by the authority. The length of the contract is a 2-year requirement contract with a one-year renewal option to be exercised at the authority's sole discretion. There is a 19% variance between TR Pipe's bid and the authority's cost estimate for this work, and this is attributed to the project labor agreement. TR Pipe does not have the ability to use their own technicians to do the electrical work required under this contract. Instead, they're required to use local 3 union electrical employees. TR Pipe is not new to the authority. They have completed approximately $49 million worth of services for the authority over the past 5 years. They are a non-minority business enterprise and have indicated on their Section 3 hiring plan that they will intend to hire 1 resident in the title of utility laborer. No questions? Thank you. Yes, sir.
The systems that you're putting in now, are they going to work similar to the systems that we have in place? And if so, are the kinks going to be removed before it's installed?
Well, the purpose of doing this is to replace those systems that are not working properly by putting in the new valves that work like they're designed to work.
Okay. So you've already figured out the problem areas.
Yes.
And that's where you're going to, okay.
Yes, we've identified the areas that need this type of work.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Robert Malamo, Deputy Director for the Maintenance, Repair, and Skilled Trades Department. This morning, I'm seeking authorization to award a requirement contract for the emergency tree removal, tree replacement, stump removal, tree pruning, and crown cleaning for our trees authority-wide. This is a 2-year requirement contract with a 1-year renewal option at the authorities based on the authority's sole discretion. The scope of the work includes, but is not limited to, furnishing all labor, materials, equipment, insurance, and incidentals necessary for the removal, disposal of dead trees and stumps, and pruning of major trees 4 inches to a 60-inch caliper. Estimation of accessibility to trees and usage of a bucket truck, an aerial lift, of the estimated quantity equates to approximately 67% of the remainder will need to be clined manually. And this will be done directed at NYCHA's estimation. The work includes removal of designated trees and stumps, surface and buttress trees, and generated debris, furnishing and placing screen topsoil that meets NYCHA's specifications and qualifications. This contract has a 90% variance from the original cost estimate. Variance based on Trees R Us bid of $3,527,614.65, and the authority's cost estimate of $4,337,515.96. This is attributed to Trees R Us working on authority contracts for about 21 years. Trees R Us is considered a fairly large company for this type of work, and they have also been very reliable in the past, even reporting at any time of day or night as requested for emergency services. The authority's estimate is accurate based on current rates. However, Trees R Us, based on their years of experience in the industry and working with NYCHA, is confident that the work can be done at their cost proposal as submitted. Trees R Us has completed approximately $14 million of services for the authority over the past 5 years. In addition, Trees R Us is a non-minority business enterprise, and they have indicated that their Section 3 hiring plan, that they will intend to hire 1 resident in the title of groundsman. The vendor's name check requested on April 20th is pending. through the VNC, and there will be no award until the VNC is issued and vetting of the procurement department finds no issue to procure the award. Do we have any questions? Thank you.
Good morning again. I'm here to do items number 11 and 12. I'm here seeking authorization to award 2 requirement contracts for asbestos abatement and replacement of floor tiles and move-out apartment. The first contract is for AMC United, which will cover developments in Brooklyn, and the second contract is for New York Environmental Systems, which covers developments in the Bronx. Both contracts are 2-year requirement contracts with a 1-year renewal option to be exercised at the authority's sole discretion. These contracts provide for asbestos abatement and replacement of floor tile and move-out apartments. The scope of work includes, but is not limited to, removal and legal disposal of existing vinyl composition, vinyl asbestos floor tiles, including the mastic and any other floor coverings, cove base, and baseboard that are in the abatement area. The areas of abatement include the living room, bedroom, kitchens, dining rooms, hallways, foyers, closets, as well as non-apartment areas located in authority properties. All asbestos removal and disposal to be performed under this contract shall be in accordance with city, state, and federal laws, regulations, and ordinances. For the first contract, AMC has completed approximately $8 million worth of services for the authority over the past 5 years. The vendor is a non-minority business and has indicated on the Section 3 hiring plan that they intend to hire 2 residents in the title of asbestos handler and 1 resident in the title of security guard. Sorry. On the second contract, New York Environmental Systems is the lowest responsive and responsible bidder. The first lowest bidder, M&RR Construction Corp., was deemed non-responsive for failure to submit their required bid bonds. The second lowest bidder, AMC United, is not eligible to receive award of this contract, as the bid documents limit award to no more than 2 contracts under this type of work to any one vendor, and the authority seeks to award 2 such contracts to AMC United. The cost for the first contract is $4,904,743. Second one is 4,000. Oh, I'm sorry, I have the wrong number there. Yeah, I got it reversed. And the second one, right. And the second one is, well, the first one is $3,062,885, and the second one is $4,904,743. Questions?
I have a question. Is this, has this been done before? Is this?
Yes, this is ongoing. This has been done before in move-out apartments.
Okay. And does it slow down the turnaround?
I mean, there is.
And by how long?
Yeah, I mean, it's usually about 10 days because of the approvals that we have to get before the work is performed.
You said 2 Section 3 hires?
Um,
We'll have 3 for each.
I'm sorry. Yeah, well, 3 each. On one of it was 2 asbestos handlers, and security guard, and the other one is 3 asbestos handlers.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Good morning. My name is Cal Bruno with the Department of Management and Planning. I'll be presenting items 13 through 20. Items 13 and 14 are for authorization to award 2 new Intercom contracts. Item 13 provides for Intercom service at various mixed finance managed developments. It is a 2-year contract with a 1-year renewal option. The scope of work includes furnishing all labor and materials to repair existing Intercom systems. CLC is the sole responsive and responsible bidder for this contract, despite inviting 213 vendors, of which 30 viewed the solicitation. Outreach to the vendors who did not participate indicated they did not have the necessary parts and equipment to perform the service or could not meet the requirement. Item 14 provides for intercom service at various next-gen managed developments. It is also a 2-year contract with a 1-year renewal option. Scope of work includes furnishing all labor and materials to repair existing intercom systems. Once again, CLC is the sole responsive and responsible bidder for this contract, despite inviting 211 vendors, of which 17 viewed the solicitation. Outreach to the vendors revealed the same issues. They did not have the necessary parts and equipment to perform the service or could not meet the requirement. Items 15, 16, and 17 are for change orders to increase the not to exceed amount on existing intercom contracts. Item 15 is requesting authorization to increase the not to exceed amount by $265,000 to further the continued provision of services during the remainder of the initial 2-year period. This contract covers various Manhattan developments. Item 16 is requesting authorization to increase the not to exceed amount by $575,000 to fund the continued provision of services during the remainder of the 1-year renewal option. This contract covers various Brooklyn developments. And item 17 is requesting authorization to increase the not to exceed amount by $275,000 to fund the continued provision of services during the remainder of the initial 2-year period. This contract covers various Bronx developments. Items 18 and 19 are for the award of 2 citywide IDIQ, indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity contracts to supply kitchen cabinets. These contracts will give us flexibility to meet new supply demands. Item 18 is requesting authorization to award a contract to the lowest responsive and responsible bidder, GCS Building Supplies. This contract is valued at $1.8 million. Item 19 is requesting to award a contract to the second lowest responsive and responsible bidder, Cuisine Croton Incorporated. The first bidder is ineligible to receive award of this contract because the limiting language that was in the contract only allows no more than 1 contract to any one vendor. This contract is also valued at $1.8 million. And item 20 is for the rejection of all bids for a requirement contract to supply kitchen cabinets. I am requesting the rejection of these bids based on the decision to award the 2 IDIQ contracts discussed in the previous 2 items. The IDIQ contracts will provide greater flexibility in order to be able to order cabinets from both vendors. Any questions?
Question about the repair of intercom systems. So the other day at the hearing, we heard a couple comments about concerns about broken doors and intercom systems. And it sounds like we have good guidelines, being able to go and repair within 24 or 48 hours. But it seemed like some of these issues are chronic. And so I guess my question is, how in those, do we notice patterns, and if there are bigger issues that need to be addressed, or what's going on in those cases?
Well, I mean, the contract, the intercom contracts really covers the repair of the intercom, right?
Yeah.
The front doors is actually not covered, right? So that gets handled either with our staff or a vendor, depending on the severity of the damage. I mean, the intercom is very responsive. But there is at times at different developments, a high volume of activity, and we noticed that kind of leads to sometimes things being vandalized a little more often than other buildings. I mean, so we do respond. There's, I'm not sure what else we could do with these existing contracts, but information that's provided, we do pass along and to try and curb that activity. I'm not sure if that answers.
Yeah.
As far as from the mechanical components, not much more. When they're installed, they work well.
Mm-hmm.
We strive to keep all our doors locked. That's an important aspect of security.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we struggle a little more times than others in certain areas with that.
I was just thinking, are these part of the layered access buildings, or is these separate from those?
Yeah, it's completely separate. The layered access
Separate
has
from
its
layered access.
Yeah, it has its own contract that handle a little differently. This is our typical phone system, intercom systems, right? You kind of have the keyboard outside. You know, you hit the code.
Right,
That's
right. I
yeah,
got it.
and they answer and you buzz them in. That's all this really covers.
Okay, I was just thinking maybe there was a little fine tuning in there somewhere.
No, this
Okay.
is more our
Okay.
traditional intercom
Thanks.
systems. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. Takesha White, CVP for Real Estate. I'll be presenting items 21 through 24 this morning. Item 21 for your consideration is a request to submit an application to HUD pursuant to Section 18 for approval to enter into a 99-year lease, ground lease rather, for an approximately 20,738 square foot parcel of land located on 92nd Street between First Avenue and York Avenue. And this action also requests the granting of easements to facilitate the construction of a building of approximately 169 affordable housing units and 169 market rate units. One supers unit, a ground floor facility, community facility space, and site improvements. Upon HUD approval of the Section 18 application, we'd like to enter into a 99-year ground lease with Fettner Properties, Inc. to facilitate the project. On June 30th, 2016, the authority and HPD jointly issued an RFP for the development of the project site, and on May 2017, the authority and HPD announced the designation of Fettner Properties, Inc. for the development of the project site. The proposed project is a building of approximately, as stated before, 169 affordable units, 169 market rate units, and is being developed through our next generation NYCHA 50/50 development program. All 169 affordable rental apartments will be marketed to households earning 60% or less of area median income. NYCHA residents will be given a preference for 42 of the affordable housing units, and Fettner will finalize a NYCHA resident hiring plan prior to the execution of the ground lease, including targets for both construction and non-construction new hires. Construction loan closing is anticipated in December of this year, and as required by HUD, all proceeds for the ground lease will be used for either capital improvements for public housing or development of low-income housing. For the reasons stated, we recommend that the members authorize this action. Any questions?
I
Yes.
just want to be clear that I heard what I thought I heard. As the project begins, that's when you'll decide the hiring of the Section 3 people.
Before all of the financing package is finalized, we will finalize the hiring plan. So we'll come back before the board before that is finalized to present that plan to you.
I have a few questions. So I know that NYCHA residents get preference on 40, I think you said 42.
Mhm.
So there are about 20 extra units, affordable units that are left right outside of the 42.
There are 169 affordable units total.
Okay. So are there any guarantees that the NYCHA residents, they get preference, but are there guarantees that those 42 units will be designated to NYCHA residents? Is there anything in place that, incentivizes or guarantees that they will occupy those units?
When you say guarantees, it's it'd be hard for me to say that there's anything 100% guaranteed, but those preferences are in place, and we will certainly be marketing to our residents, making sure that they're aware when these marketing periods open and so forth. Mm-hmm. So will it be done by a lottery process? Yes, in conjunction with HPD. And again, once we finalize the hiring plan and get closer to the finalization of all of the financing, we'll present to the board and more explicit with respect to those questions. So during the lottery process, 42 units will be set aside for NYCHA residents? That's right, of the 169 affordable, yes.
I have two questions. So you mentioned the proceeds are going to be directed to improvements at other NYCHA developments. Do you have anything more specific about where and to what that the money will be allocated?
So we're conducting scoping as we speak, and the plan is to have those half of the proceeds would go to the homes, to the existing development, and the balance of those would go to the NYCHA general operating to be used at the authority's discretion.
Is that the general model that's been used, half and half?
That's what we're proposing. Again, this is our 50-50,
Right.
which is going to be our first of its kind.
Okay. And then as far as the selection of Fatner, just comment on the decision-making process. Was it committee and how was it scored? And
Absolutely. There was, in conjunction with HPD, our NYCHA team, there was a competitive selection committee. There were several criterion considered, and there was a scoring matrix of which he scored highest amongst bidders.
how many bidders did you have?
It was a total of 17, but I can certainly get that exact number to you.
And the unit mix by type and affordability, is that in the proposal, the developer's proposal, or was that one of the guidelines on the RFP? Who decides that?
So yes, that was in the proposal as requested as part of the RFP, and there are development bands. So it's between 0 and 60% AMI on the affordability piece. So you have a 30% band, 40 and 50. So there'll be income eligibility at each of those levels.
Right, but what about the unit types? The distribution of unit types?
You mean the bedroom numbers?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. So that's they'll be equally distributed amongst. I mean, again, I can get you the metrics, and it may be included in your.
It is included, but I'm asking who decides that. They're not equally distributed, actually. I mean, more of the affordability tends to be clustered around the smaller units. So I'm asking, who
Primarily
who makes the distribution? Who decides on the distribution?
Primarily, it's the financing that determines the distribution of units. There are requirements for having X number of studios, 1s, 2s, and 3s affordable within that 169 that we have.
Mm-hmm.
So we do, in our underwriting team, in conjunction with the developer, will come to a decision upon what that mix should be, what the ideal mix should be.
So it's a collaborative decision between the developer and NYCHA. And then there's no, I don't see the actual lease value, the agreed lease value.
The ground lease?
Yeah.
So we are finalizing the financing plan as we speak, but the ground lease is being negotiated. And again, that will be a payment to NYCHA, half of which the financing will go toward the development and the balance into the general operations.
Will we see this again before that?
Yes, that will be coming to the board right before we fully execute the 99-year ground lease. And all financing at that time will be set in stone.
I think it would be useful to consider reconsider the distribution of the units for greater room for bigger units on the affordable front. I just want to make that statement. I don't know if there's room to reconsider that.
Point taken.
I also have a question. So for the 169 affordable units that are given to NYCHA residents as preference, are they subject to a credit check? And if so, if they don't meet a specific criteria, are they disqualified to obtain one of these apartments?
So the 42 preference units for NYCHA residents, I will get back to you with any specifics, but all lease up is subject to credit check and approval. As far as rejections, I mean, we'll have a band from which to choose from of NYCHA residents, but I can get you more specifics on all of that marketing materials.
That would be helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And if there are some, what guarantees are there that those units end up being NYCHA residents? Just to hear that, because it's the developer, then this is in the hands of the developer, right? The decisions on who occupies the units.
I want to make sure I'm understanding the question.
Is the decision about who occupies the units fully in the hands of the developers?
That's, well, on the affordable side of the units. Well, on the
Both
50,
sides.
yes, after the project is developed, but initial marketing and lease up is done in concert with our team here at the authority. But once again, 42 units will go to NYCHA residents. Yes, The lottery, as there. long as they qualify. That's right.
Quick question. I think you said that this was going to come back to us again for another vote, correct?
Correct.
So can you tell us what it is we are actually approving of today and what will come back to us later for further approval?
So this is the submission of the Section 18 application and approval of the Section 18. Once we get that approval, we're going to come back to you for final approval to execute the ground lease.
Okay, so just following up with the question here, the question of the distribution of the units, I think it was asked to reconsider that. Is that still, would that still be on the table after today's vote, or would that not be on the table after today's vote?
And we're still finalizing the financing plan, so we'll definitely take it back for consideration. It's not a final number as we speak.
So the approval today is not contingent on the specific details that we're
That's right.
provided on here
This is just
regarding the
for the Section 18.
and the specific development, except that it's 50-50 and that it's 169. Well,
Right, we're conveying the land today. We're asking for actually Section 18 approval to dispose the land. And when we come back before your body sometime September or October of this year, then we'll have a full financing plan to present.
Is the concern the second part of the resolution? That upon we're saying okay today to enter into the ground lease. I think that's where the concern is. The second portion of the resolution, if in fact we're coming back, do we need that second portion in this resolution? That's the question.
So perhaps we can amend that to be more clear. And it is the
Do we
section.
need that second part now if we're coming back?
We're going to
the
come back so we can.
So we can eliminate the first part. So this resolution will only be seeking to submit the Section 18 application to HUD for the long-term ground lease for parcel of land with zoning floor area and associated easements at Holmes Towers. Is the board okay with that?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. So next is item number 22. Again, a request to submit 2 applications to HUD pursuant to Section 18 for approval to dispose of 20 vacant single-family and 6 vacant multifamily FHA repossessed houses located in Queens and Brooklyn, and to submit a memorandum to HUD requesting an amendment to a prior approved Section 18 application and approval letter for 2 vacant multifamily houses located in Brooklyn, authorized by a prior resolution in May of 2018. The change being requested is to modify the method of disposition from fair market value to less than fair market value. Upon HUD approval of the aforementioned Section 18 applications, an amendment to the Section 18 application and approval letter, the authority will convey title to two nonprofit organizations, Habitat for Humanity in New York and Restored Homes Housing Development Corporation, to facilitate the rehabilitation of the project sites and to provide affordable home ownership opportunities for authority residents and other low and moderate income first-time home buyers through the resale and rehabilitated homes. Based on submitted proposals from May 17, the authority's evaluation committee unanimously recommended the selection of Habitat to restore and renovate 13 homes and Restored Homes HDFC for 15 of those development sites. To ensure that the new homes are kept permanently affordable, Habitat is partnering with the newly established Interborough Land Trust, and Restored Homes HDFC proposes to resell all 15 rehabbed homes to families earning 80% of AMI or less. For reasons stated herein, it's recommended that members approve or authorize us to proceed with this transaction. Any questions?
Yeah, so does the sale come with, use the word permanently affordable, but does the sale come with a deed restriction?
There is a deed restriction on the resale of the homes, yes.
And what is that?
So the deed restriction will require that you would not be able to exceed 100%, 120% AMI on the resale.
And is that in perpetuity?
That's, I'll check on perpetuity, but that would be for yeah, I'll get back to you with the.
I'd like to know that, yeah, because in the case, so I understand the policy goal of home ownership and in this case, and but we also know that the issue of affordability and permanent affordability is also, excuse me, a big one and an ongoing one, and so I'd love clarity on that.
Yeah, Paulina actually is the Deputy Director of Preservation and is managing the FHA project.
Okay.
Hi, good morning, Paulina Batiarov. So for the homes that are going into the Habitat transaction, they're actually being governed by the newly formed Interborough Community Land Trust. So the term will be coterminous with whatever the restrictions are for that land trust. For the restored homes, as well as for the Habitat homes, will also be governed by whatever HUD includes in their approval of the Section 18. So the term of affordability and however they define permanent will first be governed by that, then by whatever the land trust has as its guidelines for inclusion.
So I'm not familiar with the land trust. Can you clue us in on what that is?
Sure. It's a new initiative that was funded, I believe, a couple months ago by the city and state. It is an initiative to, again, to your point, perpetuate affordability, specifically in Southeast Queens, where a lot of these homes are located. So it's a newly formed entity. It's, again, a tool to incorporate the affordability piece into the deed for the home. The term, again, is not certain at this time. We're still in pre-development. We're still going through HPD with the financing process. If there's a certain term that you'd like to recommend, we definitely love to hear that and put that on the negotiation table with the developers.
Yeah, I mean, it would be great to know the specifics of that, the terms, restrictions. I understand that they're being worked out, but you know, it would be useful to know. I have a question. So the development partners houses, units, 25% of those are designated or offered. I'm unclear on, you know, what the guarantees are. My prior question here, but 25% of the houses are designated or offered to authority residents. I didn't see that on the Habitat for Humanity side of the development. Is that also true for that side, for those houses?
Hi, good morning. Tashelle George, Community Engagement and Partnerships. So development works very closely with Reese on the marketing of the apartments and the homes that are where there are preferences for NYCHA residents. So for the homes, the 25% were co-marketed between Restored Homes, Habitat, and NYCHA. And then we made sure that we had information sessions to have residents know about it. We also connected residents to financial counseling if they needed to address any debt or credit issues to better prepare them for the opportunity. And then the company, Habitat or Restored Homes, they're the ones who make the selection. And for both, they're by lottery.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so both have it.
Yes.
25% each.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. It's currently, it's not stated as both. It's only stated as development partners. So just want to make sure that that's accurately reflected in what we're agreeing to today. And then the fair market value is not disclosed here of the land, of the houses. What is the fair market value?
So again, we're in pre-development. The appraisals have been ordered, and we can report that number once it's determined.
So how do we come to an agreement to sell them for some for $1, some for $50,000, and not something that's closer to fair market value?
So that number that you're describing is what they're going to the development partner for,
Mm-hmm.
and on the resale to the end user, it would be an affordable set sales price.
Right, but given that that's not determined, how do we know that that's sort of, an adequate price to sell, given that we don't know what the, what the fair market value is, and then the cost, the ultimate pricing of the properties will be.
Can I just ask a question? So is maybe this will help clarify this. The ultimate price sold, the houses will be sold to the consumers will be fair market value? Is that right?
Or just below fair
market value. But this number of $1 or $50,000 is the price that the houses will be sold to the developer to.
That's right.
Okay, so you have a gap between the first sale price and the ultimate price to the consumer, right?
That's right.
So long as that gap is sufficient, you still ought to be able to sell it to the numbers ought to work. You still ought to be able to sell it to the consumer for fair market value. And everybody ought to do okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming that's the assumption behind the whole thing.
And the second price again is determined based upon the AMI of the selected end user or consumer. So that $1 versus $50,000 that NYCHA or the authority is going to be disposing this homes to the developer for is sort of part of. I mean, they still have to redevelop and bring these buildings to their highest and best use. So it's a benefit, clearly, to be able to do so with this.
Put their prices that low, I assume, to guarantee the developer some profit,
Right.
and still allow the developer to sell it.
So
The developer's going to do this in no profit?
Right.
can I go ahead?
So these are nonprofit developers, first and foremost. Second of all, these homes need gut rehabbed up to the amount of $40,000 per home.
Right.
Right. So the delta that we're talking about is the actual work that needs to go into the home for it to first be structurally sound and be livable. Right. So the benefit that NYCHA is receiving is we're offloading
a housing stock that's impossible to maintain, that's currently being in some ways occupied by squatters, and we're increasing the supply of affordable housing options, specifically homeownership options for our residents.
Yeah, that's fine. Nobody disagrees with that. That's great. Yeah.
Well, although my question is about a lot of the development we've been doing, it's to bring in funding for some of the capital needs, and I'm unclear as to why this is, the benefit here is not in any way gonna help with those funding needs.
So the benefit here then is the reduced burden on our operations team who have to manage these properties that have been laying dormant for a number of years, in addition to providing the additional affordable housing to NYCHA residents and other low and moderate city residents.
There's a gap. There's a gap here. There's 80% AMI. The other developments we're looking at go down to 60% AMI. This is pretty high, very low cost.
This is home ownership versus rental. That's another distinction that we should make.
So what are we agreeing on today to this? What is the agreement on specifically?
You're submitting the Section 18s, and upon HUD approval, they can convey to Habitat and Restored Homes.
We want to convey to the nonprofit developer and submit the Section 18 application for disposal.
So you'll be voting on both actions today.
Yes? Okay. Please, if there are any further questions, I would be happy to get them to you in greater detail. So, number 23 for your consideration is approval to request an amended RAD application that was previously submitted to HUD to convert developments in the Bronx, Brooklyn, and Manhattan for Section 9 public housing AHC to Section 8 project-based voucher housing assistance payments. The prior application was authorized by board resolution in June 2016, and in January 2017, HUD approval for the RAD units was obtained in the form of a commitment to enter into housing assistance payments, or CHAPS. Unfortunately, a pure RAD conversion strategy is not financially feasible in New York City due to market conditions. So to offset the financial reality, the authority proposed a bundling concept whereby buildings converting to Section 8 via RAD would be combined with buildings converted to Section 8 via Section 18, thereby making this more financially feasible. The request is to add 3 additional developments and the remainder of 2 for the project sites, those being Betances 1, Betances 5, Betances 6, Hope Gardens, and Bushwick Groups B and D. In addition to amending the RAD application to include the additional project sites, authorization is also requested to form public-private partnerships with the respective development teams. RDC Development LLC in the case of Bundle 2 or Betances, and Penrose in the case of Bushwick or Bundle 3. The RAD Section 18 conversion will provide substantial capital rehab, streamline property management, and enhance the delivery of social services at the developments through the authority's Permanent Affordability Commitment Together, or PACT initiative. Any questions there? No, nothing. Thank you. And finally, is a companion request, number 24, a request to amend the Section 18 applications to be submitted to HUD for approval to enter into a 99-year ground lease at 8 developments in the Bronx, Bundles 1 and 2, and Bundles 3 in Brooklyn. The original Section 18 application for 7 developments was located in the Bronx and Brooklyn board resolution in February 2018. At that time, the authority was contemplating expanding the bundles, Bundle 2 and 3, in order to add more units from nearby developments, benefit from economies of scale, and make for more financially feasible transactions. Through this board resolution and companion board resolution number 23, authorization is being requested to expand the bundles to include the aforementioned developments including Batanzas 4. In total, the authority now seeks to preserve 3,051 units in 3 bundles in this phase of RAD Pact. Any questions? I have a question going back to 23, I'm sorry. Sure. In regards to the rents, is it still going to be 30% of the rents? And is the flat rent still going to be applicable in this case? So as it stands, yes, the rents will, Section 8 rents will be charged at 30% of the resident's income. And if their income is above NYCHA's guidelines, the flat rent will still be? That's correct. No, that's not true. I'm sorry. I stand corrected. 30% of AMI.
Yes, Pauline Butierrez. For anyone who's on flat rent, if they're not converted to 30% prior to conversion, they'll be phased in. We will elect between a 3 and 5 year phase-in period to bring to paying 30% of their household income towards rent.
So those individuals whose rent is flat, their rents will, in essence, go up higher than what it would normally be at the flat rent.
Correct, just like for the rest of public housing residents in NYCHA, because everyone is being phased into the 30%.
So for those individuals with flat rent, it would be phased in over what period of time?
5 years. HUD allows us to use a 3 to 5 year horizon, and we've elected to use 5 years, which is probably more than in public housing.
Thank you.
Okay, so 24 items were presented for board approval. Do I have a motion to approve the 24 items?
Move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I do note that board member Dincy Flores abstains from item number 22. Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Oh, wait. Sorry. Wait.
I move that,
Excuse me, the meeting's not over. Thank you.
I move that the members be authorized to meet in executive session today to discuss the civil investigative demand.
Thank you very much. Now we're adjourned.